And we're live. This is so exciting.
Here we are.
I'm Jazz. Here
I'm
we
Jazz.
are. We're doing the thing.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi. How are you?
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back.
We're back. Hey everyone, my name is Sarah Rebecci.
Are we going to give people a couple minutes to join?
Oh, we can give a couple minutes to join. We'll let them trickle in.
Should we let them trickle in
We
a
can
little
let
bit?
them trickle in. We can let them trickle in a little bit.
Drake, our lovely moderator over there, can let us know when there's some people joining. How we doing?
There's some
How we
people
looking?
joining. People looking.
Okay.
Okay.
Not bad.
Adding, letting them in, letting them all in.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's send it. Here we go. We're so excited.
Lick the stamp and send it, baby.
Okay, let's try this one more time. Hey everyone, my name is Sarah Rebecci.
And I'm Hillary Bouch.
And we're going live on IMDb's TikTok to celebrate Women's History Month by breaking down the most popular ReFrame films on IMDb Pro's Top 100 Narrative and Animated Features list.
Love.
Love.
So excited.
How are you holding up before we start today, Hill?
I'm thriving.
We're thriving?
Best day of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely doing better, I will say, than our moderator Drake over there, who has hand warmers in the studio with us because he's so cold. I feel great.
I'm glad. Good.
How
I
do
feel
you
great.
feel?
I feel fantastic. And I think we should introduce ourselves.
Yes.
Maybe. What do we do?
Take it away. Take it away.
Okay. I, Sarah, am a video producer on the IMDb Originals team, as well as lead producer for Women's History Month for our video initiative. I'm a big fan of ReFrame and have had the chance to chat with a few of the women that we are going to talk about today.
So excited. I am a marketing manager and a digital producer on IMDb's social team. I do a little bit of everything here and there, but if you're looking for me, I can usually be found on our TikTok channel. Here you are. Or trying to get movie stars to talk to me on red carpets.
And you're great at that. It's hard.
you.
It's hard. It's loud. There's so many people.
Please talk to me.
Please talk
all
to
the
me.
time.
We have great questions. We're
Yes.
fun. We're fun. We're cool. And we've been mentioning ReFrame, but what is it and why is it so important? Hill, why don't you start us off?
Let's dive into it. So, ReFrame, as we said, is a collaborative initiative by the Sundance Institute and Women in Film, which has the goal of providing research, support, and the framework to deter bias and measure progress toward a more gender representative industry.
And today we're narrowing in on films that have been given the ReFrame stamp, which is awarded to features that hire women or individuals of other underrepresented gender identities and expressions in at least 50% of key roles.
Love. The 50%, it should be more than that,
It should
but
be
we'll
more.
take 50%.
We'll take it.
29 out of IMDb's top 100 most popular films of 2022 meet the ReFrame stamp criteria for gender balanced production, which
Love to see it.
we would love to see more, but we love to see that.
Yeah, we're happy with it right now. We can always do better. And ReFrame also has an initiative to support creatives in the industry called ReFrame Rise. And I'm so excited to share that we have a guest today. I'm so hyped, truly. And we're going to add her to the live now and make sure to share any comments and questions you have. It is director/screenwriter Ally Pankiw.
So excited to meet Ally. Just an FYI for everybody watching, also, we had a little bit of technical difficulty with Ally's TikTok account, so she will be joining the live as me. So her name will say Hillary, but it will be her as soon as we can add her.
Okay, I invited her.
Amazing.
And she'll be in and gone.
Oh, it says connecting.
Oh, it's connecting.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I hear you. And now we just need to see you.
Okay. Oh my God. Here I am. Okay.
You're doing great.
We hear you.
We hear
Do
you.
I hit save? Is this me?
Ooh.
There you are.
Oh
there
my
you are.
God. I am really sorry for not having TikTok until
You're doing
today.
great.
We are all thriving here. Do not apologize.
I want to make you bigger.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's fine. We can just start.
I'm ready to
Okay.
get big or stay
You
small.
ready? Well, or stay small, but I would love to make you a little bit
I
bigger.
think she looked big, I think, to everybody else. Just to us, it might look different. It's fine.
Yes. Okay.
You guys look big to me, if that's helpful.
That's helpful, I think.
Oh, it is small.
Oh, it is small? We're just gonna... Okay, Ally, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, like while I'm making you big?
Okay, yeah, big me up, and I'll also big myself up by saying my credits. So My name's Ally Pankiw. I'm a writer and director. I'm originally Canadian. I'm in LA now, though. And I work predominantly in television. And recently, though, I just made my first feature film. In TV, I've had the great honor of directing really lovely shows, including Feel Good, which was a Netflix show created by Mae Martin, a few Hulu shows, Shrill, with A.D. Bryant and The Great.
The Great.
Done,
We love
The
The
yeah,
we
Great.
by
love the
Tony
great. We're such big
McNamara,
fans.
yeah, and Elle Fanning and Nick Holt. And then I recently sold a show and am now in the writer's room for it. I sold it and co-created it with my pal and fellow Canadian Dan Levy. It's called Standing By, and it's an adult animated sitcom for Hulu.
A
So
new show with Dan Levy. I don't know if we knew this. I didn't know this.
I didn't know this.
I was going to ask you about Schitt's Creek, and now you're talking about Dan Levy. It's meant to be.
It's literally meant to be.
it's a
I'm
very
so glad we
Canadian
mentioned
hour. Yeah, exactly. So we got a series or season order, and so we're working on it now with a whole bunch of really talented and funny writers. So yeah.
That's incredible.
That's so incredible. Okay, so of course we've invited you here today to talk a little bit about ReFrame. You
Yes.
are a ReFrame Rise member, and could you tell the audience what that means, what that is? So we know ReFrame supports hiring women in key roles. What does
Yes.
a ReFrame Rise member do?
So the Rise initiative is more for like mid-career level, female filmmakers and cinematographers. And it's meant to sort of help take your career to the next level, as it were, and link you up with strategic sort of sponsors and champions in different arenas and areas of the industry. So, for example, I was linked up with a lovely comedy exec at Netflix because I specifically work in comedy and dramedy. So yeah, and then also the program builds community. So myself and the rest of my cohort, a bunch of other really talented female filmmakers, directors, and cinematographers. We also are just given access to certain industry events and spaces that maybe we wouldn't have access to on our own. So we all went to Sundance together this year. We were at the Women in Film gala and awards. So it's just like creating, I think, open doors and network opportunities in the industry for people who are like women who are working in the fields, but maybe are like not plateauing. I think that's maybe an unfair term, but just like ready to take the next step and get bigger budgets, hopefully.
Yeah,
all
of our
about the bigger
projects.
ones.
It's all about,
Yeah.
we all need resources. I think a lot of
Yes.
times women lack, it's women and other underrepresented groups lack the resources to succeed. It's not about not having the talent. It's like you need help and you need a team behind you.
Yeah, having an organization like this that
Yeah.
just can kind of help everyone spread their wings together is so important, especially in an industry like this when it does kind of end up being an old boys club a lot of times.
Oh, totally. We talk a lot about changing statistics and changing numbers, but unfortunately, the hard facts and numbers don't change very quickly. And I think also it's all of the organizations that exist to create more like equity in our industry, which is unfortunately a not very equal industry. I think the best thing that they can do is like dispel the myth that hiring other voices, like whether that be female filmmakers or people of color or queer people, it's not a risk, like it is an investment. And I think that is the main mentality that should change, and I hope is changing slowly but surely.
I love that. Yeah, you said it's not a risk, it's an investment.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, it's an opportunity, I think. So
Yeah, because you're really
Mhm.
adding value of representing the public of what
Yeah.
what the world actually looks like.
And that's what's so great about ReFrame as a whole too, is people who are looking to support creators and storytellers like that can look for films or TV shows or whatever it is that are associated with an organization like that and say, hey, this is something that I want to put my time into, my stake into, because I want to support these people that are underrepresented.
Yeah.
Full
Yeah, and being able to also go like, okay, great, like to reward the projects that have actually done more than just lip service and have hired diverse crews. Because also like the Reframe stamp beyond just the Rise program is like meant to sort of hold productions accountable to be like your crews all can't just be like straight white guys anymore, you know, like it's you need to try to hire responsibly and put your money where your mouth is, I guess. So
Amen.
yeah, also
Amen.
just
Amen to that.
yeah.
In what ways specifically has Reframe helped your career? Because, like you said, you have worked on these incredible shows. I'm so jazzed about your new film that's premiered at Sundance, but it's
Well,
not
it
out
premiered at
yet.
South by. It premiered at South by.
So far, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
And but for I want to be able to see it. Like, when is it available to the public? But you worked on all these incredible projects. How has Reframe impacted your career in that way?
Well, I think like it also helps you navigate like the business side of the industry because I am really good at making things, but when it comes to the actual business of like selling a film and getting distribution for a film and all of that, like Andrea Wilson, who runs Reframe, she's like so knowledgeable about the indie film space. And like, you know, it's a marathon. You go to war to make a film and you're like in the trenches and then you make it and you like pour your heart and soul into it. And then there's this whole other side to the industry that is like the business of selling and distributing a film. So, we went to South by to like find distribution and a sale. And so, but that process is like such a big, you know, massive, complicated process. So Reframe and the people involved with that organization have been really helpful about just, you know, guiding me and my team through that. Yeah, the more like wheeling and dealing side of indie film, which is a big part of it. So, yeah, we premiered at South by. We are putting together our distribution strategy out of the festival now. WME is our sales agent. So, yeah, we will update you as soon as we know when it is more available to the masses.
Can't wait.
I can't wait. Rachel Sennett is in it. I'm so happy. And we have this beautiful picture of you all at South by together.
That's my cast. Aren't they gorgeous and
They are
so
so
sweet and
gorgeous.
funny? Yeah.
And you can tell how great the chemistry is with all of you, and you get along so well. So I'm super jazzed to see it. First of all,
Yep.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, it was really lovely to get to work with Rachel. I've been like a fan and a like loose acquaintance of hers for years, so to get to make this film with her was such a joy. So
Yeah, and I'm also a huge fan of Caleb. I love his comedy. Like, he's
heaven. He's heaven. He's heaven. And Sabrina Jalise is an old Canadian friend of mine as well. I've known her since I was like 20 or 21. And yeah, it was just really amazing it's so hard to make a film. So to get to make something with like your friends is it really helps. It really helps. Yeah.
Absolutely. It just makes it fun. Like, when you get to
Yeah.
work with your friends.
Hanging out with your friends. Look at us.
Look at us. Here we are doing a TikTok
Look
live.
at you. Yeah. It's what a joy that you guys get to do this together.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like work.
Doesn't. And I have one last question for you.
Yeah.
Of course, you've been in the industry for a while. Are there any positive changes that you've seen over time? Would love to have some nice news. Like, what are you seeing that's good that's happening?
I see a lot more people willing to talk about issues where like I think issues still happen. I think there is still gatekeeping. I think that a lot of people want to keep sort of like a mystique and a mythology around filmmaking that I think needs to be done away with to make it more accessible to people who haven't normally been able to access that space and being a filmmaker. And I think there's still like bad behavior in our industry, but I think now at least when it's called out, you don't necessarily have to be worried that your job is going to be impacted by calling it out. Like, I think that still can happen. And I think that is still a fear and a valid fear, but I don't think it's like as normalized that you can be like punished for speaking up. So I think I have seen a change in that area. I don't think everything has like gotten magically amazing, but for women and especially women of color and like queer women in this industry.
Yeah, I like that point of, I think it's still scary and you're still taking a risk about talking about that behavior, but there's like, you have more of an empowered voice and there are more people that are willing to stand behind you rather than a decade ago when it was all silent. Before the
there's like more voices I think now that like join you when you say something. So and also maybe that's just me getting older and like not having as much patience for that kind of stuff and not being, and I for myself, like I feel lucky at this point in my career, like I feel on solid ground, you know, knock on wood, but that I don't have to put up with that, and I can say something at any given point. So, but that also comes with like having a certain amount of power in this industry. So, yeah.
Do you have any advice for young or women directors, screenwriters, that you would have loved to give yourself back then? Because now you're in, like you said, like a great point. You've worked on a bunch of incredible shows, but how did you get there, especially in difficult times?
My film school was sort of making a bunch of small things, like making a bunch of short form content, making a bunch of music videos and commercials and little branded docs and short films that I had written. And I like got to learn by doing, and I got to learn in a bunch of different types of work environments and different types of sets. So my advice would be just start making stuff. Like I had to even remind myself of this lesson when I made my film, because like you want to wait for the perfect amount of money, and like when you feel like the script is like 100% perfect and there, and you know, and you at some point just have to take the plunge and make something. And so I would just urge people to start creating a piece that just shows how you look at the world, because you can talk a lot about how you want to make things and how you will make things and how you will like shoot something, but until you can show someone like this is my POV and this is my voice, it's no one's going to just imagine it properly in their heads and trust that their imagined version of it is what it'll actually be. So I mean, it doesn't have to be the most incredible film in the world, but if it shows one skill that you have that is unique to you, I think it's just worth it to make something and put it out in the world. Some of my earliest short films are not anything that I think are like, you know, will stand the test of time, but what they did show when I first started making short films is like I could really direct a comedic performance. And so I focused on that and showing that I could do that, and that allowed me to like move to each new opportunity and each larger opportunity. So I would just say make something that just shows a specific thing that you can and want to do, and put it out in the world and start showing it to people. And it won't be perfect.
I love that. I was always given that advice. One of the best pieces of advice I was ever given as a writer was, no matter if you think someone will be interested in something that you want to write or not, write it, because you are never in silo. No matter how niche it seems or anything like that, someone will always like the same thing you like somewhere in the world. And it's almost like better when you can do it that way, because then it's like you are a unique person that can appeal to that unique audience, and it makes it a little bit more special, I feel like.
Well, I think like that's some of the best not, I think that's sometimes what speaks to the most people. Like the film that I just made, I Used to Be Funny, like I wrote it for one very specific person, and it seems to be, and that's a strange thing to do, but then it seems like it's speaking to a whole bunch of people. So I think sometimes the more specific you can make something, the more people relate to it. So yeah, if you're just making something for you and your friend, or you and someone you love, or for your cat, just make it, because you never know like who it will speak to, I guess.
Why did you want to tell the story of I Used to Be Funny now?
Well, I always wanted to tell it. I started writing the script in like 2014-ish, and it just took a really long while to produce. And yeah, so I I think it's always been topical. My film deals with like trauma and violence against women, but unfortunately, those things are always timely. But I think I was getting to a point in pop culture where anything that did deal with sort of women's like recovery or trauma was very much like a binary. It was either like a revenge thriller, or it was like so purely devastating drama. Like there wasn't a lot that spoke to the experience of like me and my friends and my loved ones in a tone that is how we actually talk about sort of how it is to be young women in the world, which is sometimes with a sense of humor, So I think I just felt that I wanted to see that as a viewer. And so I just tried to fill that gap, I guess.
I love that. It's not black or white. As most people live in the gray area. Yeah. And
yeah,
we do have a fan question here for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Does Ally have a short or a music video that she still loves and online somewhere?
I have a bunch of music videos that are still online. They're like all on my website, but recently I've been working with the band Muna and have done a bunch of their music videos. And that's been recently. I still do music videos when I have time. So if you check out any of their most recent few videos, they have a song called Silk Chiffon that they did with Phoebe Bridgers. And I did that video, and that's a very fun queer sort of celebration. So yeah, anyway, that would probably be something I'd point people to.
Oh yeah, and Caleb's in Silk Chiffon.
Caleb is in it as well. Yes, exactly. See, when I worked with him on that music video, I knew he'd be the perfect fit for my film.
Absolutely. And did you delete all your old projects when you were done with it? That's a question I have. Like when you're like, I know this isn't going to be great, but I need to make it anyway. Do you delete it, or do you leave it for like, fun in case people want to journey back?
I've left some stuff that I think I can still like stand behind. There's like other stuff that I have sort of, like archived or kept in a private sort of page on a website or on Vimeo or whatever. But it's, all of it shows, I think, growth and the different stages of like the resources that you have at different stages of your career and like what you can do with them. And I think they all sort of like showcase a different small thing that I can do. So it's only been like the really, really, really old stuff that I've like truly actively tried to avoid. But most of it, I'm like, whatever. I'm sure someone could learn something from watching this and looking at the mistakes that I've made. So.
I love that. And like seeing your growth over time, you're like, wow, I have grown.
Unlike hiding your old Facebook photo albums from high school.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think I guess I need to do that.
You're like,
at some point you reminded me. Yeah, I forgot all about Facebook. It's just still existing in the internet a bit.
In the cloud somewhere. We don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's somewhere.
Did you have any last minute questions?
I think that's it. I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah. Well, Ally, thank you so much for being here.
That was very fun.
It has been such a pleasure talking to you, and I promise you I will make you big the next time that we do this.
That's fine. I like being small. It's comfortable and nice and feels Canadian to be smaller than the two Americans.
It feels Canadian.
And I'll have more filters.
Yeah.
And I will say next time I'll have my own IMDb account not IMDb account. I have my own IMDb account. I'll have my own TikTok account. I
Oh,
just
yes.
am old and didn't make a TikTok account until yesterday.
Totally fine. We made it work.
But if anyone, I have one now. It just won't let me update my bio or my photo yet. But it's just at Ally Pankiw, and
Oh, great.
At Ally
yeah,
Pankiw.
I think so. Well, it generated some crazy. Oh, someone said hello from Ukraine. I'm Ukrainian. Hello.
Oh.
And but yeah, it I will have, you can follow me on TikTok after today, basically, once I sort all that out. So
Amazing.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'll
be
try and get
following.
on top of it. Yeah.
You'll be getting a follow from me. I'll be not the first follower.
Thank you so much. I feel like they think I'm like a bot because they're like, why does this woman not follow anything or have any followers? So that's probably why it won't let me do anything, but it is real.
Little do they know she's a critically acclaimed
Yeah.
director.
After this, it's gonna just blow right out of the water. You're gonna have followers everywhere.
I can't wait. Thank you so much for starting me on my TikTok journey. It was
We're
a delight.
happy. We're day ones. We're day ones.
Yeah.
Now we can say we have been knowing each other since day one.
Yep.
I can't wait to, learn how to do a TikTok dance and show you guys.
Exactly.
We can learn together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
Ally,
cool.
thank you so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Everybody, make sure to be on the lookout for I Used to Be Funny, that we'll hopefully be able to see soon.
We're hoping this year. Yeah, that's the plan. So I promise I'll keep everyone posted on my TikTok channel when it will be available. And you'll also be able to find that information on IMDb, I'd imagine. So
perfect. Thank you,
cool.
Ally.
Thank you so much, Ally.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. You're going to have to kick me out because I obviously have no idea what I'm doing.
We'll miss you.
Bye.
There we go. Perfect. Okay.
Perfect.
Sarah's gonna get our mic going again, and in the meantime, how's everybody doing? How are we feeling? That was so much. I mean, as you can tell, she's just doing all of the things in the industry.
Also, she's so grounded. I was like, I want to tell
she's Canadian.
It's because she's Canadian. That's why. You're so right.
We love the Canadians.
You're so smart. Your mind is so powerful. And if you're just tuning in, we are taking a deep dive into our favorite ReFrame films in the IMDb Pro Top 100 list and the women changemakers behind them. We just had a great interview with Ally Pankiw, and she's fantastic. But now we're moving on to some of our favorite films that are ReFrame and on IMDb Pro Top 100.
Yes, and we're going to start out with Avatar: The Way of Water. I think almost everybody saw this film in 2022, as they should, because it's absolutely fantastic. At this year's Oscars, the James Cameron film actually took home the award for Best Visual Effects, which should come as no surprise. The woman we want to highlight here is Amanda Silver. She wrote the screenplay along with her husband, Rick Jaffa, who they're just so cute, the dynamic duo. They wrote the screenplay along with, of course, director James Cameron, and they're just known for their work across the film industry. Some titles include Mulan, War for the Planet of the Apes, and Jurassic World, to name a few. Just tiny films.
I don't know if I've heard of them.
Maybe you've heard of them.
Before. The Indie, they also premiered at South by.
Probably,
Probably.
So for Avatar, Amanda and Rick actually based Jake and Neytiri's characters on their own relationship and on their experience as parents. And Amanda has even spoken out about how she specifically based Neytiri's actions and everything as a mother on her own experience as a mother, which is just incredible.
I think that's incredible, too, because it's so important to have people with that experience and those who identify as women who are able to get pregnant, to say, like, what would someone in this situation do, and bring that authenticity, even in sci-fi, of how would this actually go down if this was, if this happened.
Yep. And we also spoke to Zoe Saldana, who plays Neytiri in Avatar, on their press tour for the film, and asked her, how did you channel being a mother on screen, especially for The Way of Water, which is just a whole new journey for those characters. Exactly. And she said that she really channeled her own experience as a mother as well, because she has, I believe, 3 kids at home. So she said, well, I am a mother. So it wasn't hard to translate that onto screen because she's used to that. So having all of that mother energy, I think it really comes out in the film.
It was a mothering, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a mothering.
Next up, we want to talk about Black Panther Wakanda Forever. We really just need to talk about the Black Panther costume designer, Ruth E. Carter. We absolutely love her. She is an icon. In 2019, she became the first Black woman to win an Academy Award in costume design for the original Black Panther. Then, this year, she won again, making her the first Black woman ever to win 2 Oscars, and the first person ever to win a costume design Oscar for both an original film and its sequel. Just absolutely incredible.
Just snaps. Snaps for Ruth, truly. And, I mean, this isn't the first time that she's been nominated. She's been nominated, of course, last year, or the first time for the original, but 4 times in total, including for her work in Spike Lee's Malcolm X and Spielberg's Amistad. And she's finally getting the recognition she deserves. She deserves all of it.
All of it.
Crazy that she won for both the original and the sequel.
It's absolutely insane. And we never really think about how incredible that is until she became the first one to do it.
Yes, literally. And they're blockbusters.
Yes.
They're not, like, they're huge, huge films.
Yep.
So that's just so incredible. And she also, one thing I think was amazing was that she studied the traditional practices and attire of indigenous tribes to celebrate Black history and bringing in that authenticity. They chose between 8 to 12 tribes to represent the people of Wakanda, and I thought that was I love when people really dive deep and bring something of themselves, something of history into, no matter whether it's fiction or not. And it's not fiction because Angela Bassett, there was a joke with Elizabeth Banks when she was on stage with the Cocaine Bear at the Oscars, was like, hey, what was the quote?
She was like, CGI is great, but we will just say that Wakanda is real. And then they pan to Angela Bassett and she's like, yes, it is real.
And she's like, yes, it is real. And
I
agree. And I agree.
Yeah. We also really love that Ruth really prioritizes not sexualizing the women warriors in this film. Obviously, I think that's the case, especially in comics and things like that. I mean, obviously, love Wonder Woman. No offense to Wonder Woman, but the skirt is so short, and it doesn't need to be. And things like that, I feel like, have been such a trend throughout history in films with women who are in that, like, warrior kind of character.
Yeah.
And it's really amazing to see what she's done with this to kind of take a step back from that and just focus on their strength instead.
Because the costume needs to be functional.
Right.
Like, you need to bring some kind of, this makes this, like, logical.
Right.
Like, you don't want to look at it and be like, I could never move in that.
Right.
Yeah.
Put on some tennis shoes
Put
and
on
some leggings.
tennis shoes, which I think is so, like, just the costumes themselves are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And in Ruth's acceptance speech, I love that she thanked the Academy for recognizing the superhero that is a Black woman. And ended it with, she endures, she loves, she overcomes. And one of my favorite things about the Oscars is the acceptance speeches. And I felt inspired. I had chills.
Oh, every time.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely incredible. We love her.
And next we have, okay, Hillary, I'm really jazzed. Here we go. Next we have one of the most talked about films of the year, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Woohoo! At this year's ceremony, Michelle Yeoh won the Academy Award for Best Actress. She is only the second woman of color to win that category and is the first Asian woman to do so. This is a huge feat when you keep in mind that the Best Actress category is one of the least diverse.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Absolutely incredible.
And Michelle's win was made even more special because she was presented the award by Halle Berry, which, if you remember, was the first woman of color ever to win Best Actress back in 2002 for her role in Monsters Ball. This means in 95 years of Academy Award ceremonies, only 2 women of color have won Best Actress, which is absolutely wild, but that is why we are thankful for women like Halle Berry and Michelle Yeoh, who are paving the way.
They're opening the door for so many women behind them, which I'm really excited about.
Exactly. And Michelle, obviously, beyond the Academy Awards, was given so many accolades for her role in Everything Everywhere All at Once. She also took home a Golden Globe, an Independent Spirit Award, and a SAG Award.
She's such a star.
Yes.
She first came, you know this as well, she first came to notoriety as being a Bond girl. In Tomorrow Never Dies, when she played Wei Lin, she was a star in the United States in 1997. I have a photo right here. Our Bond girl. She's such a star.
Iconic. You can barely even recognize her, honestly.
I know, she's so young.
1997. That's a long time ago.
She seems determined. I would trust her.
Yes.
I would be like, I'll go to battle with you
For sure.
Apocalypse Team.
Yes.
Michelle Yeoh.
Yes, and I love this too because, again, talking about Halle Berry, who was also a Bond girl. She was in 2002's Die Another Day, which coincidentally was also the year that she won her Best Actress award. Coincidence? I think not. So I just love kind of the synergy between the two of them, that they both started out as a Bond girl, made their way through their careers, and now are really, like I said before, paving the way for women of color and just women in general.
Yeah, and Michelle has so many other iconic films. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in 2000, most recently Crazy Rich Asians in 2018. So if you want to know everything Michelle Yeoh, we have a IMDb Originals video for you. That is the essential guide to Michelle Yeoh. So go check that out on our website.
Go check it out.
She's a star, truly. And now for those of you just tuning in, we are taking a look at the most popular ReFrame films on IMDb's Top 100 list and the women behind them. We just got done talking about Everything Everywhere All at Once. So if you're just joining, welcome. We still have some more show to go.
Yes, exactly. And don't forget to put any questions you have or comments or anything in the chat below while we're chatting.
Yeah, we'll bring them up later. We'll answer them.
We'll all chat together. Next, we want to talk about Don't Worry, Darling. It is no surprise that Don't Worry, Darling is on the list because director Olivia Wilde is actually a ReFrame ambassador, which we love to see. This is only the second feature film that Olivia has directed after Booksmart in 2019, although according to her IMDb page, she has 2 more directorial projects on deck for the next couple years, including one that says it's a Sony/Marvel film.
Yeah, we have the tea.
We don't know
receipts.
what it is yet.
We have the receipts. This is a screenshot from the website.
There it is. So Olivia, hit me
We're-
up if you want to share some of your Marvel tea that
we
you have.
don't know, but we want it.
Yes.
We want the tea.
But Sarah, talk to me about Booksmart because you...
Okay, I love Booksmart. Sorry, we're going back to Olivia. I'm such a big fan of it. I think like being able to tell a queer story and it's fun. And Caitlin Dever is just so incredible, and Beanie Feldstein, and I think being able to have a lot of women in the room to tell those stories when often they're looked over, especially in the queer community. It was such a fun movie, and it made a splash, and I'm not surprised that in her second time around, she had more powerful women, Florence Pugh.
So good.
She, even herself, of course, she was
Yes.
in Don't Worry, Darling, so this is no surprise to me. And speaking of women directors, we are now getting into some women directors. I got to drop some facts for you.
Lay it on me.
So, according to the Celluloid study by San Diego State, they found in 2022 films with at least one woman director employed substantially more women in other key behind-the-scenes roles over films that had exclusively male directors. Which basically means more women directors means hiring more women behind the scenes. And the proof is in the pudding. On films with at least one woman director, women comprised 53% of writers, 39% of editors, 19% of cinematographers, and 18% of composers. The numbers don't lie.
Women supporting women.
Women supporting women. Love it.
Love it.
I love to see it.
Next up, we're going to talk about Where the Crawdads Sing. Now, this film is based on a book of the same name by Delia Owens, and I read this book a few years ago, and I absolutely loved it. I was so excited when they announced they were turning it into a film. This was adapted for the big screen by screenwriter Lucy Alibar, and it's just absolutely incredible, and I think the way that they translated the story to the screen, to me, could not have been more accurate. It was amazing. One of the other things I love about this title is that it is a Hello Sunshine production. If you're not familiar with Hello Sunshine, it's a media company founded by Reese Witherspoon, who we love. If you know me, you know that I love Reese Witherspoon. And the company's mission is to elevate women's voices, broaden perspectives, and ultimately change the world. A small feat. Change the world for women, especially in the entertainment industry. And one of my favorite things about them is on their website, actually, in their kind of about us thing, there's a quote from Reese that says, if you want to change the stories, you need to change the storytellers. And I think that that's so powerful and just fits so well with what we're talking about today.
Yeah, you need to have people that have those experiences.
Yes, exactly.
You can't have people just writing on what they observe other people are going through and have them be the only ones telling the story.
Yes.
And we have another IMDb original. I missed the other one earlier. We also have one for Olivia. but IMDb original, career retrospective of Reese Witherspoon. She even shouted it out. I was in an interview with her for Your Place or Mine, and she was like, you know what I love about IMDb? And I was like, tell me. And she said, they make little clip reels on your page. So she's seen it. So if you're watching this, you're watching what Reese Witherspoon watches. And that's the first step to becoming her. Yep. And you heard it here first.
Yes.
Now, let's take a look at the women behind the science fiction thriller Prey. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time through this movie. I love it. Prey is the 5th installment of the Predator franchise with a powerful new protagonist named Naru, played by Amber Midthunder, which much of the plot is featuring indigenous culture. It's important to incorporate storytellers from that community. Both Amber, Midthunder, and producer Jane Myers are indigenous, with Jane specifically identifying as Comanche, which the tribe is in the film. I love this quote from Jane. I've become a big fan of her ever since discovering this film. And she told Variety, I tell everyone that Prey gets an A for authenticity because a lot of times you don't have that much creative control.
Yeah.
And Prey gets an A for authenticity. Was she planning that?
Yes.
She was planning that.
Incredible.
I love that. And I think it's so important because most Americans are very ignorant of Native American experiences, especially history. Mm-hmm. According to a study done by the National Council of Native Americans, there is no mention of this community in the K-12 curriculum of 27 states. 50 divided by 2 is 25, and 27 is more than that. So
I feel like there's something happening here.
There's a gap that needs to be filled, yeah. And so therefore stereotypes are built around movie portrayals, which of course is why authentic representation is so important because what you see is what you expect to be emulated in the world.
Yeah, totally.
In fact, Amber has said in interviews that she's been selective about which indigenous roles she takes on, and what drew her to this project was the cultural accuracy, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah. And
talk about accessibility. Prey is the first streaming movie available entirely in the Comanche language, which I think is...
the first one.
Crazy. I think that's fantastic.
It's amazing.
Okay, we have some questions, and if you're just tuning in, we are taking a look at the most popular ReFrame films on IMDb's Top 100 list and the women behind them. But before we get into more, we're going to look at some fan questions. Okay, why don't you start us off, Hill?
Okay, first question. Who is your all-time favorite performer or performance of the year so far, and why? 2022 or this year? We could go with this year. We can go 2022. That's what we're talking about. Oh, geez.
We can do 2023. Well, there were so many, or I guess...
there are so many.
Yeah. My favorite of
performer. 2022 was She Said, which is the film that tells the true story of the 2 journalists who worked for the New York Times, and they're the ones who broke the Harvey Weinstein case story, all of that. I thought it was absolutely incredible, and I mean, especially watching it as a woman and remembering when that story came out and reading the article and then seeing it on screen, it was so special. I think I cried the entire time. And you actually, Sarah, had a cool experience that had to do with that too, because you were at the Women in Film Gala a couple weeks ago and you heard speak the woman in real life that was the first person to come out and talk about that, right?
Yeah, I was at an event and Lauren O'Connor, she casually mentioned, she's like, strap in. And I was like, okay. And I'm strapping in. She's like, I'm an executive now. And she was saying how she had an uncomfortable experience with that, Harvey Weinstein, and was given the ability to either take a promotion or do nothing or get fired. So someone told her to just write it down, how she was feeling. And that was the memo that got leaked to the New York Times and started the momentum of the Me Too movement.
Blew it wide
open. My body had so many chills. I was like, I can't believe I didn't know you. We have similar hair. So I can't believe I didn't know who you were in that way. And she has done so much for, I have luckily never had an experience like that. And it's because of her.
Yeah.
I am the generation or I'm the woman that she wanted to create a space for. Yeah. Like, that's the space that she created. So
no, I have chills.
You're like, no, I have chills. Okay, my favorite performance of the year. Okay, I'm gonna have to go with Angela Bassett.
Just in general.
Like, I love her. Probably between Angela Bassett and Michelle Yeoh, which is such a basic thing to say.
No, but it's accurate.
I think Angela Bassett, I was Chadwick Boseman, because he had passed and he was featured so much in the movie. I was already emotional, and I was like, they are grieving him in real time as well as
the emotion
in the
that
film.
you could see on screen in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever was,
and
yeah.
And I'm lead producer for Women's History Month, created a video, and in it featured a shot of Angela Bassett saying like, haven't I done enough?
Oh, yeah.
And I think just seeing that every time, I was like, she is incredible, and I recall it immediately. But Michelle Yeoh, I get the stunts. It's the stunts for me, really. Yeah. And I felt so uncomfortable and ill during that movie. That's when I know that it was good, because I felt like I was in it. Okay, we have to get to the next one. Do you feel like Don't Worry Darling suffered because of the actual product or because of the off-screen drama? Thank you so much for asking this, and I will give a PC answer. I think it suffered because of the drama around it. I think the actual product was great. I think it was a fantastic film. Of course, being a woman in the industry, you're often talked about, and I think a lot of times Olivia's experiences as a director, everyone was focusing around her relationship to a man. And that's the whole point. It's like, you never want to be identified as if you were married.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Brentweather. I don't know. That's just you want to be introduced as Hillary Bouch, not like Tom's wife.
Yes,
and
exactly.
So everyone was more focused on the male relationships in her life rather than the product. I really loved it, but
same.
People were boycotting it, and it was just.
I really loved it, and it was just overshadowed by the drama, and it was unnecessary, and it's sad because I thought it was a really good film.
And that was the media, you know, that was the media. I think people like making stories all behind it. So definitely, I thought the product was incredible. And who is your favorite female director and film of theirs?
Oh, I have one. Question. My favorite female director is Patty Jenkins, who many people know as the director of the Wonder Woman film, the Gal Gadot version. I love her actually from the 2003, I believe, movie Monster, which is the quote-unquote film portrayal of the real-life Eileen Wuornos, who is known as the first or one of the first female serial killers. And Charlize Theron plays Eileen Wuornos in the film, who you would never even recognize her unless you knew it was her. And she actually won Best Actress for that film, too. And Patty Jenkins actually directed that. And when she kind of came on the scene again for Wonder Woman, I think a lot of people didn't really know who she was. And then the people who watched Monster back in the day were like, our girl Patty, she's back. And now she's doing a bunch of stuff now. But I really loved her since then, and I'm glad that she's getting more recognition kind of in this second wave now.
Yeah. I love that movie Monster. It's so good. I can't recall, like, I feel very pressured by favorite female director because there's so many great ones. Who I was astounded by most recently, Yoko Okumura.
Yes.
Is another ReFrame Rise member, and her most recent film, Unseen, which you can find on Amazon Prime to rent. I really loved it, and it's so hard to be able to, it's all like kind of, the premise is about a woman that gets taken and her glasses get shattered, and so she's kidnapped, and she calls someone to help, and it turns out it's this worker in a gas station. She's like, I need you to be my eyes. So the whole time they're on FaceTime, she's trying to get her out of this horrible situation that she's in. And the split screens were incredible. She had this black line in the split screens, and every time that they had an emotional moment, the line thinned, and each shot was right up next to each other.
Aww. And
I was like, I see what you're doing there, Yoko. So she is one of my favorite female directors of recent.
Yes.
And Mila Kunis, of course.
Yeah, obviously.
Is a star to me. Which brings us to our next honorable mentions, because we don't have too much time left.
We don't have much time, but we can sneak them in.
We can sneak them in. Is Luckiest Girl Alive and Turning Red are honorable mentions. We can't go too much into them, but I would love to call out Mila is amazing. Please, we have videos of my interviews that I've done with Mila Kunis, as well as the director and cast of Luckiest Girl Alive. And there was a viral clip that went around that was about Mila talking about the most polarizing scene in the film, and it was about how when she had come out with her truth, there was backfire against it, and she said that was the most contended, and she had to fight for it to go in, and it's got like 1 million views.
Yes, incredible.
And
Jessica Knowles actually wrote the book that film is based off of too, also called Luckiest Girl Alive. Highly recommend. It's also a fantastic novel.
Yeah, and of course we had to have Turning Red on here.
Of course.
It's such a sweet. We had to have it. Gotta watch it. We don't have much time left, so we have to get into it. But director Domi Shi and writers Domi Shi, Julia Cho, and Sarah Stryker are the women behind that, and it's such an incredible animated film that one of our productions, Bapu, said that he's watching it with his kids multiple times. A day, multiple times a day, a night. It's a family film.
Yep.
It has such a sweet story behind it. So make sure to go check it out. And I think that's it.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. This was so much fun. I had so much fun. And be sure to add these films to your watch list on imdb.com or the app, and follow us on all of our socials. If you didn't know, we're on TikTok, right? Like, of course, now you know. TikTok. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, follow us everywhere, and you'll see new updates, exclusives, interviews on our website. We have a ton of South by Southwest content that we're putting there, and new fun widgets, so be sure to check all of that out. All of it and more. Everything everywhere, all at once, on imdb.com.
But
I didn't even plan that.
Where is that? You're like so proud of yourself.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you guys.
Thanks so much,
Bye.
everyone. We're going to head out.